All right, so let's talk about the same ride, different pay, and why is it a different ride type that's coming in? So
Mhm.
in these two screenshots, it is if you look at the map, it is different. So the map they're putting the route is going to be different, but it's essentially still going to the exact same spot. You're getting picked up at LAX. You're going to Universal Hollywood Drive for both of them. It is the same ride that's coming in because it's the same star rating and all that. But why does one have Uber X and one have Uber X priority? We've seen this a number of times when it comes to the screenshots. So what's going on here, Sergio? Do you understand what this all why these are coming in like this?
Yeah, well, the route is different. Number one, you're going to the same destination, but in LA, you can go to the same route, by the way, 4 different ways. So what the algo did, well, what happened on this case, I'm assuming, but I'm pretty sure that's what happened. First of all, the one on the left is a snap decline, folks. The 23.15 in that traffic for an hour, and no. But let's not talk about the dollars. Let's talk about one is UberX, then the rider cancels. They freak out. They're going to LAX. I mean, they're going to Universal, picking up from LAX, and maybe they're in a rush or something, and they think by paying more and ordering UberX priority, they're going to get a car faster. I'm like,
Yep.
no, riders, don't fall for that either. You're just not going to get any of that.
Yeah,
But
but
now,
that I mean, right there is part of the reason why it explains that it goes from Uber X to Uber X priority for the same ride from the
yeah,
same rider.
yeah,
Granted,
I've done
this
this trip
and
million
especially
times.
the route difference. If it was
Yeah,
the
yeah,
same exact route and it
yeah,
came in, that may send like what's going on here, but you can definitely tell in this aspect the ride was canceled and then reordered as a priority. Likely, as you said, they want to get to their destination, and whatever's happening, they're not getting picked up. Probably because getting paid 23.15 for that hour, they're not going to want to do that.
yeah. But the other thing is, yeah, the difference between the first one and the second one is so there is a $4.53 priority pickup charge, getting the drivers getting paid on the second trip, the one on the right. And if you deducted 453 from 24.76, you're left with like $20.23. So that's a haircut, folks, you're getting.
But is it? It's
Well,
not. And I'll tell you exactly why. This is why you need to pay attention to these things as well too.
let's do it.
Because it's a different route. So if you're
Yeah.
looking at the two different
Less
routes,
miles.
one
Yeah.
route is 4 miles less.
Yeah, for sure. But
So that is part of the reason right there why there's a discrepancy when it comes to the pay. Again, if it was
yeah,
the exact same route, you could talk about that being an issue. In this aspect, I think it's actually priced probably the exact same way. The difference is because it is going from 25.5 miles to 21.5 miles.
yeah,
That's why you're seeing that lower, the lower base pay, but higher though still with the X priority because of the 453.
yeah.
So
But
that is something to remember and keep in mind
no,
when
for
it
sure.
comes to that.
For sure. The algo is doing its thing. It's shorter distance, same time though, same duration, shorter distance. I don't know why the algo would throw the second one that way because time wise is not making any difference, honestly. Like they're both about an hour, right?
Yeah,
So
the
like
only difference is it would be a 4 mile less.
yeah, 4 mile less. I've done this trip many times and it is an absolute disaster of a trip. And I can assure you, when I used to do this trip, this would definitely not be anything less than 30 to 35 to the driver.
Hmm.
Now we're down to here. So
Gotta love
and
it.
24.35, by the way, is right at the Prop 22 kind of a threshold right there. So yeah, I mean, that's where the business is at. 25
Yeah.
bucks an hour before expenses.
Hey everyone, Sergio here with the Rideshare Guy. What do we say on Show Me the Money Club? Work smarter, not harder. If you aren't using the Solo app, which I have been for the past year and a half, you may be working a lot harder than you need to. Let's change that. Download the app, link your account where you can manage your income, track your expenses, as well as your taxes. Not only that, but you can plan by optimizing your time, make more money, and even guarantee your daily pay with guaranteed earnings. Download the Solo app today. Begin to work smarter, not harder. Link is in the description. Let's get back to it.
So either way, this is another reason why you should pay attention to these things with a fine-tooth comb. But yeah, I know a lot of people are saying, why is it going from UberX to UberX Priority? Now, could they be switching it to make it seem it's possible? But the reality is, in certain circumstances, is going to be where the passenger actually canceled the ride and reordered the ride,
Yeah.
thinking that changing it from X to Priority is going to get it to them fast, is going to get them to their destination faster.
I mean, look,
I'm sure Uber's loving that because they're like, oh yeah, we can
yeah.
charge more,
Oh,
but
yeah.
we can charge more for the same ride. In fact, I bet he probably got paid more, and then they had the shorter route of 4 miles, so they're like, oh yeah, well, we don't
That's
really
a
have
good
to change the
question.
pay when it comes to the driver, and so we get to collect the difference.
That's a good question. Why did they not route it that way in the first one, the first offer? Good question.
Honestly, it could be real-time traffic.
Well, the time is the same. Maybe it's a minute less. It looks like, but on this one, by
Yeah,
the way.
but what I'm saying, yeah, but the thing is, it could be real-time traffic. Just in that time frame, there could have been something on the one route where, you know, now there's a backup that's being caught, or a slowdown or an accident, because they do get their information from Google. So they use Google's API in order to figure out what's going. So
Yeah.
they could actually, that original route, if you took it, instead of being 57 minutes, maybe you get trapped in some sort of wait time dilemma, and now it ends up being an hour and a half. Who knows?
What
I mean,
the screenshot?
I couldn't tell you the reason.
Well, the screenshots are taken within a minute apart. So these two orders, the two trip radar orders, by the way, came through literally one after the other. So this definitely shows this is an inexperienced rider. It says 1:11. I'm assuming it's 1:11 in the afternoon. There is 500 cars in queue at LAX. This is an LAX pickup. You don't need to order priority at LAX pickup, sir. All you did is we made Uber richer. That's all you did, but that's fine. Yeah.
Well, I think it's also the fact that if they went from X to Priority, is the fact they weren't getting picked up. And that's probably why they were offering drivers this 2315,
Well,
and nobody was taking it. That's probably why it came back.
Why nobody was taking it? Because that offer on the left is not takeable. That's why.
Well, neither is the offer on the right, but
well, yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I know.
But either way, I mean, yeah, so that is one of the things when it comes down to these switches. It could potentially just be that the rider is changing the ride, and maybe they ordered it wrong, and then it went out and it was dispatched anyway, and then they canceled it and then it came back out again. Unfortunately, that is happening, and that's where we're seeing some of this quote unquote bug that Sashin was talking about. But in reality, we've seen too many screenshots that just does not explain that, because this is minutes over minutes of time. So we'll talk about that part in a little bit, whether that bug was fixed or not. But yeah, when it comes down to it, that explains sometimes why there is a difference when it comes to the ride type, even though it is the same passenger that is actually ordering the ride. And so if you notice that, that's part of the thing there. And then same thing, that's another thing when it comes to knowing your markets. Two different routes, you know, which route, let's pretend these numbers didn't exist. Let's pretend you got that $35. What route would you take, Sergio? The left or the right one?
I'll be before upfront fares, definitely the longer route.
Well, no, as of now.
Oh, as of now, I'll just put it in. I mean, look, usually I'll put it in my Google or Waze just to see whichever one is quicker. If I can save myself a few minutes, I'll take the shorter route. But you also have to understand, Chris, on the back end, you don't know this is the route that Uber is suggesting the driver to take. You understand?
Yep.
You don't know how Uber is calculating on the back end what route, because you can go to Universal Studios, by the way, that's the exact same hotel. You can go up to 405, off the 10, up to 110, all the way to the right, through downtown, and you can take the 101 up, and that could be like 28 miles. So maybe Uber on the back end is figuring out the longest route for the rider and then sending you the shortest route for the driver.
They've been doing that for years. That was when fares were decoupled from the passenger, and they had the upfront estimate fare for the passenger way back when. They started doing that, and then the same thing. They want you to take the nice, short, quick route. But yeah.
If I had a 4X surge all days, long mile, baby, long mile, all the way, long mile, without hurting the rider. Same time, but longer miles. That's all.
All right, thanks for watching. That short little clip was from our live stream, Show Me the Money Club with Sergio and myself, Tuesdays, 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific. Make sure you subscribe, turn on all notifications so you'll be notified when we go live, as well as all of our awesome content. Make sure to check out this video right here, which will take you to the entire live stream, or check out this video right there. All right, drive smart, everyone.